We may have an important state call to make in just a moment. Now we're ready to make it, and that is that we can call Pennsylvania Donald Trump the victor.
Pennsylvania had voted Democratic in 6 straight presidential elections.
I think for me, this is one of the most stunning results of the night.
In 2016, Pennsylvania was the first state in that blue wall to swing from blue to red. For almost 30 years, Democrats carried the Keystone State, buoyed by huge turnout in big cities and suburbs, but Hillary Clinton lost the state by just over 44,000 votes. Clinton destroyed President Trump in those same cities and suburbs, but what her campaign wasn't expecting were the Obama-Trump voters, like Aldo Sartorio.
It's just somebody completely different, and I thought he would just do things differently and care more about the country than the political party.
Sartorio is a native of Luzerne County, the county that moved the most from Obama to Trump. It shifted by a stunning 25 points. Pennsylvania 2020 is set up to be a tale of 2 states in one, the much bluer East versus the much redder West, a trend that's been occurring for years. Both sides of the state have been moving further along on the political spectrum. Western Pennsylvania is more rural, with a pretty distinct identity, which is exacerbated by its separation from the rest of the state by the Appalachian Mountains. The east side of the state is littered with more cities and suburbs. They look and feel much different than the other. In 2019's local elections, they also voted differently than they have in the past. Republicans had been holding on to suburbs surrounding Philly for dear life, but all 4 of the Collier County governments were snatched up by Democrats while Republicans flipped seats in the West. This cultural divide that is only getting bigger sets up a huge fight for PA for Trump and Joe Biden. So what is each side doing? Well, the Trump campaign seems to be leaning into a fear tactic to try and win back some of those white suburban voters in Pennsylvania and nationally.
Joe Biden and his bosses from the radical left want to significantly multiply what they're doing now. And what will be the end result? Suburbia will be no longer as we know it.
Since becoming president, Trump has seen suburban white women turned off by both his rhetoric and policies like child separation and his handling of the current protests and unrest around the country. So that voting bloc is going to be a huge hurdle for him in Pennsylvania. And poll after poll show Trump losing the battleground state to Biden by increasing margins. But don't forget, that was the state of play in 2016, which is why Democrats need to tread carefully here. While Trump and Republicans are losing white suburbanites in Pennsylvania, he's gaining strongholds with blue-collar white voters that used to hold it down for the Democrats in the state. If you speak to Democratic officials behind the scenes, they say 2016 kind of scared them into not relying so heavily on the polls this time around. But they also say they remain cautiously optimistic as they watch President Trump's poll numbers continue to trend downward. The East-West divide in the state is widening, and it's real. And that's why no matter what the polls show right now, both Democrats and Republicans are expecting another squeaker in 2020.